and then you'll just sew right across that corner. So once you have your bag bottom with your little feet on each side here, you're just going to fold the little tab right to the center seam, just like that, and then you're just going to hand sew a stitch or two, sewing the flap right to the middle seam. This is going to help the bag keep its shape. And so what you'll do is you just take a needle and you'll push it through all the layers of the fabric, and it's very, very thick. And then you'll just pull it through until the thread is about 3 inches of thread left at the top. And then you'll just come back up through the top, all the layers once again. You'll just do this a few times back and forth. Make sure you got a good strong hold on it. So once you have enough stitches to hold the flap securely, you'll just take that first 3 inches that you left there and then just tie the two ends together. Do a nice secure knot. And then you'll just clip off the ends. And then of course you'll move it over and do the same thing to the tab on the other side. So once you have the little feet securely pinned, you're just going to turn the bag right side out. And at this point, all the seam lines are hidden. And the little feet are what give it the shape of a bag. So now that we have the basic shape of the bag, we're going to take the top of the bag, which is still open so it can still fray. We're going to fold that down about 1/2 inch, and then fold it over 1/2 inch again, and that will lock the frayed edge right inside the little hem. And you'll just pin that all the way around, going 1/2 inch all the way around the bag, and then you will just use a straight stitch to sew right around the top of it. Now once you've got the edge pinned, you're going to sew it together, but because the seam line is so thick right here, because the hemp is so thick, pretty much no sewing machine, no matter how heavy duty, is going to go through this with a straight line. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start next to it, like on one of the two sides on either side of it, as close to the big bunch in the seam as you can get, but not quite on it. You'll come back to this part later. So start about 1 inch or 1/2 inch from the big lump. And then you'll just sew that together with the 1/8 inch long straight stitch. Now in order to do the thick part, you're going to have to hand sew this, and you will want a thimble for this because otherwise you'll end up pushing the needle right through your finger, which I've already done several times. So you'll just start, you want to keep it on the lower edge of the bunch of fabric because it's not quite as thick down there. You'll just put a knot in the end of your thread. You just loop it through. And what you're going to do is just keep going right around the edge. And this will be on the outside, but it doesn't show very much because the thread is the same color as the fabric. And just staying on the lower edge of the thick part, you'll just keep going around in circles right through all the layers of fabric until you get all the way across the bunchy part. So what you're going to do now is take a strip of hemp that is 4 inches wide and 40 inches long, and we're going to use this to make the handle. You're just going to fold both sides right into the middle, then square them up until they're even. You can crease the sides a little bit just to keep them from unfolding, and then you'll fold those two together. And then you'll do that all the way down the strip and pin them together. And so once you have that pinned, you're going to sew a row of stitches all the way down the strip, about 1/6 inch in from the right hand edge. And then you run an identical row of stitches 1/6 inch from the left hand side of the strip. In order to keep the ends of the strip from unraveling, you're going to use a very fine stitch with a zigzag stitch set to 1/4 inch, and you're going to sew all the way down the edge to make sure that the end of it does not unravel. And then what that gives us is a nice line to keep anything from unraveling. So to finish, you'll decide how long you want the handles of your bag, and you'll just lay them right across it and pin the excess on the inside of the bag, and then you'll just sew this part right to the bag. Now what you're going to do is just sew right along the same 2 lines that you did before to sew the handle together. And this is how you're just going to follow that line to sew it right to the bag. So once you have handles on the first side, you repeat the same steps to make a handle for the other side of the bag. Now to finish the bag, you're going to want to square up the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a fake seam all the way across here. This is just where the corners of the bag meet. You're just going to put a fake seam all the way across here and all the way across here. And the reason I call it a fake seam is because you're going to sew across here, but it's not sewing anything together. All it's doing is holding the crease in here to keep the bag bottom square. Just going to sew all the way across here, and then you'll have a nice square bottom on your bag. So when you're finished, you'll end up with one of the strongest, most eco-friendly bags in town. And hopefully it'll inspire a few others to go green with envy.